Hi guys, Vitaly Giman here again. Today I want to talk to you about something very personal to me, and that is, you know how we always think that our brain, our logic, is one of the most powerful tools, particularly in management and leadership. We have to think through things, and we basically think that thoughts are king or queen, whatever. We're taught that rational, logical thinking is a very powerful tool, and in business we do planning, we do strategic planning, and so. But what if your thoughts are actually not so powerful at all? What if there is something else? And I want to ask Bob. Welcome, Bob, again.
Maybe to me.
I want to ask Bob this question, like what I think you said previously, there is something else other than thoughts. What is it? And explain to us why thoughts can be actually deceiving and what else causes transformation other than thoughts.
That's three big questions there
Yeah,
to
like
answer.
I'll give you 30 seconds or so.
Okay, that'll be no problem at all.
Okay.
That's enough time. I suppose how it seems to me, and thanks for that question. That's a powerful question. The way it seems to me is that it's not that thinking and analyzing and using your imagination is problematic. Of course, it's the essence of alchemy, of human creation. And using the power of your mind and to create and to bring things into reality is like it's what we do. It's what you do as a transformational practitioner. It's what I do as a transformational practitioner with people. I think the other side to that is that the thoughts and the logical side of your being can often be exactly the reason why you don't transform, why you don't move forward, why you don't make the changes in the moment that are necessary for your own personal transformation. Because a lot of the time, the thoughts that you perceive, and let's call it like that, like let's invite ourselves to look at thoughts as a stream, as like a waterfall, because I don't know where thoughts come from. You don't know where thoughts come from, although a neurobiologist and a neuroscientist would tell us where they came from. Ultimately, we don't really know. Yet we just choose at some points to believe one thought, and then we choose to believe another thought. And we oftentimes choose thoughts that are not real, and we turn them into reality. And that is where a balance is needed. That is where your heart and your intuition and your inner compass comes into play. And a lot of people talk about making decisions from the heart or from the mind. So maybe it's related to that, what I'm saying. But really what it is this inner knowing. Like you have an inner knowing. Like when you get up in the morning, you don't have to remember to beat your heart. You don't have to remember to breathe your lungs. You don't have to remember for your blood to pump your blood around your body. There is a system that works without you thinking at all, actually. And so what's useful is to tap into that. And usually the way that you tap into that is through silence. It could be through being in nature, but it's more to do with reducing the input that you're having. Thinking is about creating input in a way. It's about creating options. Your mind will create options, but I believe that it's usually the other part, the heart, that makes the decision. There's a great quote I remember I read a few weeks ago that businesses, organizations are logical entities run by emotional beings. And that's why they go wrong. Because if you ran a business logically, it would run like clockwork, making sure that all the parameters were right, of course. So allow your own intuition to have a role in the way that you show up. Allow your own inner compass to guide you as much as logic, because oftentimes logic, it will not only lead you down a garden path, but it will create more overwhelm rather than reducing overwhelm. It will create options, but it never wants to take an option. Usually it's the other part, it's the intuition that takes the option, makes the
Right.
decision.
Right.
So I think oftentimes you hear about analysis paralysis, which is ultimately you believe you can think your way out of a situation. That's something introverts do a lot. They say, if I can just have enough time to think enough thoughts about this situation, then we're all good. And that seldom works. That's I've tried that a lot of times and it never works for me. But when I mix the two, when I use my logical mind and I use my thinking mind, but then I sink into my heart and I tap into my intuition, which sounds really fluffy. And I bet there's people watching this now thinking, what an idiot.
Right. Right.
But what you'll find as you try this is that it's right. There's a thing that guides you without you doing anything. I mean, it's hard for a lot of senior executives to believe that things happen without them doing anything. It's amazing. It's an amazing discovery. And I think everybody should make that discovery that the world doesn't revolve around you. It's a wild accusation, I know. How does it seem to you?
Yeah, we're good.
What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's true. In fact, some of the best moments in my career was when I was doing without doing, when it just felt very effortless. Because of my background, come from Soviet Union, hard life, hard work. And so my background was says, if you don't work hard, it means, you're not going to get things done. It's not going to be effective. But yet I found that actually the opposite. Sometimes I work hard and totally unproductive. And then the times where I stopped pushing, it was just effortless. It was seamless. It was coming from my being. It was coming from whatever. I don't know where it was coming from. It was just easeful. And absolutely, almost the word magic, like I hate the word magic in business, but it was like, oh my God, they're just doing it by themselves. I don't have to push. I don't, they've embraced the values. And they're doing what they feel like it needs to be done without me being on top of it, micromanaging. And it was like, oh, thank God. But it was just moments. It was very moment. I wish I had a kind of a more awareness to actually make it into a way of being in the workplace. It was just moments of time.
Yeah, and what occurs to me is that in the framework of an organization or a business, putting time aside to actually think specifically around critical thinking and imagination and contemplating what could be possible is just such a powerful activity for anybody who's at the top of a business, for anybody in life at all. That's powerful.
Right.
What's missing for a lot of people is to have a way of checking the thoughts and checking the assumptions and checking the beliefs and checking how it seems to you and saying to you, is that true? Is that really true? What evidence do you have for that? So although thoughts are what create this entire reality, it's just useful to have someone push back and question the mind, because once the monkey mind gets going, it can create all sorts of stories.
Right.
And so I think that's the challenge for a lot of people, is to have someone say, how is that true? How exactly is that true? How is that anything more than just a thought?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And also to verify it emotionally. Does it feel like the right direction, or is it just another thought? Because sometimes if in my mind it makes sense, but it just feels wrong.
Yes.
And then the gut says something else. And this distinction is really good. Do you really feel it, or is it just another mind game?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I think we're going to some depth in this few sessions. Yeah, and we're going to continue, hopefully. Well, it's up to you, audience. Like, will you comment, like us? What do you think? Because we're just raising the topic, right?
Yeah, nobody should believe what we say.
We're dangerous.
I think that's really important. Don't believe a word I say. I'm not to be trusted. And go out and test and experiment all this, because my work, Vitaly, is all about questioning thoughts, pushing back on the thoughts and the beliefs and the assumptions that my clients make about the situations that they're in. Because there's nothing worse than acting, building something, creating something, only to realize, wake up one morning and say, this is not what I wanted at all.
Right.
This is not what the story was in my mind. And so to push back on that, and learn to push back on that on yourself, and learn to recognize when you've fallen into a thought and when you're falling into this just this purely logical way of being, that's really powerful. And I don't want to put any more thoughts in your mind. I just want to point towards things and the way things seem to me, because I've been a victim of my own thoughts. I was a victim for my own thoughts for a long time. Yeah. Anyway,
Thank you so much. We'll thank you so much. We shall continue this topic probably for a long time, because it takes a lot of practice. So thank you, Bob.
Yeah, there's a lot of thinking.
Thank you.